Reinsurance. Arrangement by which the primary insurer that initially writes the insurance transfers to another insurer part or all of the potential losses associated with such insurance. The primary insurer is the ceding company. The insurer that accepts the insurance from the ceding company is the reinsurer. The retention limit is the amount of insurance retained by the ceding company. The amount of insurance ceded to the reinsurer is known as a cession. 3.6 Reinsurance. Reinsurance is used to increase underwriting capacity, stabilize profits, reduce the unearned premium reserve, which represents the unearned portion of gross premiums on all outstanding policies at the time of valuation. Provide protection against a catastrophic loss. Retire from business or from a line of insurance or territory. Obtain underwriting advice on a line for which the insurer has little experience. 3.6 Reinsurance. Types of reinsurance agreements. There are two principal forms of reinsurance. Facultative reinsurance is an optional, case-by-case method that is used when the ceding company receives an application for insurance that exceeds its retention limit. Often used when the primary insurer has an application for a large amount of insurance. Treaty reinsurance is the primary insurer has agreed to cede insurance to the reinsurer, and the reinsurer has agreed to accept the business. All business that falls within the scope of the agreement is automatically reinsured according to the terms of the treaty. 3.6 Reinsurance. Methods of sharing losses. There are two basic methods for sharing losses. Pro rata method. The ceding company and reinsurer agree to share losses and premiums based on some proportion. Excess method. The reinsurer pays only when covered losses exceed a certain level. 3.6 Reinsurance. Methods of sharing losses. Under a quota share treaty, the ceding insurer and the reinsurer agree to share premiums and losses based on some proportion. Example: assume that Joseph Fire Insurance and Amara enter into a quota share arrangement by which losses and premiums are shared 50-50. If the RM10000 loss occurs, Joseph Fire pays RM10000 to the insured but is reimbursed by Amara for RM5000. 3.6 Reinsurance. Methods of sharing losses. Under a surplus share treaty, the reinsurer agrees to accept insurance in excess of the ceding insurer's retention limit, up to some maximum amount. Example: assume that Joseph Fire Insurance has a retention limit of RM20000, called a line, for a single policy, and that 4 lines, or RM800000, are ceded to Amara. Assume that a RM5000 property insurance policy is issued. Joseph Fire takes the first RM200000 of insurance, or 2/5, and Amara takes the remaining RM300000, or 3/5. 3.6 Reinsurance. Methods for sharing losses. If the RM5000 loss occurs, (3.6) Reinsurance. Methods for sharing losses. An excessive loss treaty is designed for protection against a catastrophic loss. A treaty can be written to cover a single exposure, a single occurrence, or excess losses. Example: Joseph Fire Insurance wants protection for all windstorm losses in excess of Rm 1 million. Assume Joseph enters into an excessive loss arrangement with Franklin Re to cover single occurrences during a specified time period. Franklin Re agrees to pay all losses exceeding Rm 1 million but only to a maximum of Rm 10 million. If a Rm 5 million hurricane loss occurs, Franklin Re would pay Rm 4 million. 3.6 Reinsurance. Methods for sharing losses. A reinsurance pool is an organization of insurers that underwrites insurance on a joint basis. Reinsurance pools work in two ways. Each pool member agrees to pay a certain percentage of every loss. Each pool member pays for his or her share of losses below a certain amount. Losses exceeding that amount are then shared by all members in the pool.